Welcome back to the Culture Based Podcast. I'm Dustin. He's Dancing Blake. I love to watch you while the music is playing because you're always just like,
oh, that's right. You can see.
Yeah, I can see.
Down to it.
53 episodes in, he realizes I can see him doing his little ditty, getting himself all jacked up, getting all hyped for the show.
Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Or Goku from Dragon Ball Z.
Like Happy Gilmore when he goes to the batting cage and stands in front of the ball coming out.
Oh, shoot.
Anyway, welcome to the show. Already in progress, fully caffeinated. Happy July 23rd. We are so glad to be here. Today, we're going to talk about our top culture resources. Super excited to get into that with you all. I'm not going to waste a ton of time bantering here at the top because we have a good list of stuff that we want to get to. Before we get to those, though, I want to remind you that we're here to help leaders know what they're about, show where they're going, and develop a scalable team to get them there. Would love for you to subscribe on any audio podcast platform that you may be finding this on. If you're watching on YouTube, hello there. Would love for you to hit the thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell, the 3-in-1 action for YouTube. See what else. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all those places at The Culture Base, BASE. You can also find us at theculturebase.com. Click on the free strategy session button while you're there to get on a phone call with us that we can help you do the things that we do. That's my sales pitch. We do things.
We do things.
We do things. And then we talk about the things. And then we help you with the things. Yeah. Channel my inner Vince Vaughn there on Four Christmases. I love that movie. Anyway, today we're smart enough to know that we don't know it all. Well, at least I am. But we have learned so much along the way, which kind of makes us industry experts, I would say. I mean, 50 episodes in? Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Industry experts in team scalability through the tool of team culture. And we've been hard at work on a resources page for our website, theculturebase.com/resources, shameless plug. And that got us thinking, we need to share with all of you some of our go-to hot resources to grow your teams and team culture, including some free ones direct from, you guessed it, the Culture Base. So let's get into it. Let's start with our stuff because this is the free stuff. This is the stuff that's not going to cost you any money whatsoever. And we're super excited. I think we talked about this on maybe the highlight episode that we did, episode 51. We kind of teased it, but we do have an ebook out as the time of this podcast release. It is live, the ebook. It is live. It's as live as the chickens in the background, if you can hear those. I don't know if you can or not. Can't hear them? Great. Well, then you just think I'm crazy and I hear chickens, but they're there. Trust me. Our ebook, Blake, the Scalability Playbook, proven methods for building high performance teams. Now, I have an ad read for this, but just give me why did we do this?
Yeah, I mean, we did it because there's got to be a place to start. And we were obviously an ebook is let's get down to the quick meat of the scenario. What are the things I need to know quickly? We haven't this ebook is great for where do I start? Where do I get going? What do I need to know quickly about the big picture of culture, about the big picture of how to scale a team? And so we dive into those things pretty quickly. But obviously, it's like the podcasts and all that we do here, we're going to dive in more and get deeper into each of these things. And later on, we're going to have more books that come out to really dive deeper into each of the areas. But this is a great high overview of the things you need to know to get started.
Yeah. Yeah. So our official language for the book, if you want to unlock the secrets to building high performance teams, check out our new ebook, The Scalability Playbook, Proven Methods for Building High Performance Team. This guide covers everything from defining your team's vision to establishing a strong culture to attracting top talent and effective onboarding. You'll also learn ongoing team development strategies, employee retention techniques, how to scale sustainably. These methods have stood the test of time in some of the most notoriously high turnover fields, like the field service trades and manufacturing. So if you want to build a high-performing team to scale your business, grab your copy today at theculturebase.com/resources. And let me just remind you again, this is completely free. Completely free. So pick this up, use it, learn from it, tell people about it. They can go to theculturebase.com/resources to get it. Now, while they're there, there's 2 other completely free resources that we're excited to share with you as well. One of our favorite episodes, we talked about this, Blake, back in episode 51, and we were highlighting some of our favorite moments and favorite episodes. One of our favorites and one of fan favorites as well is the best interview questions ever. I love how practical it is. And so what we did is we took the questions from that episode and from our own personal interview question guides that we use and created a free PDF guide for you called The Best Interview Questions Ever. So if you go to theculturebase.com/resources, that's one of the few free resources there for you to use for your team. And in it, you're going to find 2 things. You're going to find obviously a list of questions. I think we have about 17 or so questions on there for you, which is cool. But then you're also on the following pages, you're going to see a guide of what you're listening for when you ask those questions, which is really kind of where the bread and butter is in that PDF. Anyone can just ask some really good questions, but listening for the type of answer or what you're listening for in the answer, I think goes a super long way. So check that one out while you're there as well. One more, Blake, on that portion of our site. What would you say about that one?
Well, that would be the book Uncultured, the key to prevent your team from self-destructing. And that is, we have a free digital download there, which this book wrote a couple years back. And it was really about helping people and teams learn how to create, fix, build, and maintain thriving cultures, and then how to do that in a scaling way. You know, in the time that we've had our businesses, you know, the ability to scale at crazy rates has been phenomenal. And I don't put that towards me. I put that towards the team that we have and the culture that we have and the focus on both when we're growing and scaling. And, you know, we have scaled substantially over the years, and revenue and profit. And also our turnover rate is still at a remarkable 4% in a 70 to 80% industry a year. Right. So like our ability to do that is has been crazy. And we dig into stuff like the scaling cycle, even in this. And it's there's a lot of really good stuff in here. And I'm not just saying that because I wrote it, but I'm saying that because I've seen it proven over time. And that's really what this is about. So free digital download on the website on theculturebase.com. /resources.
It's right there on the screen for you if you're watching on YouTube. Yeah. And we're just going to keep this up for you the entire time because everything we're talking about today are resources. Now, those are the free ones that we offer you. But like we said in the intro, like there are a lot of things that we've learned from and a lot of things that we still use that we've picked up along the way that really help us with our really the building blocks of scalable teams, right? And we've used this language, we've used this phrase before, and I just want to pop it back up here again, that culture is the language of scalability. And so as we're talking about these different pieces and different online tools or physical resources that we've used over the years or that we still use currently, these are things that I want you to understand that it's all going to play into that scalability that we talk about so much here on the Culture Base. So first one that I want to mention, there's a couple right here at the top. I think a big part, Blake, in understanding how to grow your team and grow your culture is understanding not only yourself, but understanding your team as well. There are many different personality profile tests and things like that out there that exists. For us at the Culture Base, one that we use heavily is the Enneagram. And there's a good friend of mine who's put out some really cool, unique resources over the past couple of years with the Enneagram. My friend Jackie Brewster has put out a couple really great books about the Enneagram, but she's also put out these Enneagram Essentials. It's like a little card deck. And inside there are different things that you can choose from. Like here's the basics. Here are awareness, insights, assets, relationships, a full breakdown of all 9 Enneagram numbers and types and things like that for you to really benefit from. And so the way I use these is before a one-on-one. Let's say I'm going to have a one-on-one or a coaching session with an Enneagram 3. I will go through here and pull out Enneagram 3 cards, and I'll just give myself a quick refresher about the Enneagram 3 before I sit down and try to coach that person. It's super, super helpful.
That's so good. Can I say one thing on that? That's so important. Like true, like communication is when you know how somebody has received the information you've given. And so it's not about how you said it. but it's how it landed. And putting yourself, like what Dustin's doing in his coaching is phenomenal, because what you're doing is placing yourself in a place where you're saying, I know how they receive. I know the soil that's going to take the seed well here. And so I need to make sure I hit that. And I'm not just saying what I think they need to hear in my language. I'm saying in the language of culture, right? And the true language of culture there, which is going to scale their growth. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So knowing yourself, knowing your team, getting yourself in that mindset, but also beyond just personality, obviously you want to know people's strengths and weaknesses. And so one that we've used often is the Strengths Finder test. It's super easy. I think it's pretty cheap too. I want to say it's like maybe $20. I can't remember. We'll have a link to all these in our show notes, and we'll have a link to all these on the culturebase.com/resources. So you can go in there and click around and find that out. Really anything like the Strengths Finder for you to understand kind of where people shine and where they don't, so that you can lean in, lean away, all those types of things. And that really kind of brings us to our next one, right, Blake?
Yeah, that would be the Burke assessments. I've used these for years, and I will hire by them hardcore. Okay, so Enneagram is, we got to separate this idea of what these types of tests are. Strength Finders is a way of figuring out someone's natural strengths, right? What do they lean towards? What kind of mind do they have? How do they click into work in a certain way? Enneagram is a personality test. It's understanding this person's personality and makeup, and how they feel communication works, how their empathetic sides work. And that's really good too. So
understanding their natural default personality.
Exactly. So personality, strengths, the thing that Burke assessments does, and it gets into personality as well. It gets into it more in a DISC personality, if you've heard of that kind of personality test. But the thing that I really love about it is that it also hits cognitive assessment. So that's like a whole nother tier. Okay. Enneagram's not a cognitive assessment. Strength Finders is not a cognitive assessment. The cognitive assessment is looking at people's rapid problem solving. It's looking at their logical problem solving. It's looking at their spatial visualization. So if you have some kind of work that someone is doing that takes mechanical mindsets or trial and error based mindsets, it's looking in to see how people are strong or weaker in certain areas. Okay. And their strengths are strengths in different types of industries. I have a very mechanical background in certain areas that I need mechanical minded people. And so if their spatial visualization, which is your ability to take a 2D concept and put it into 3D. Okay. If their 2D concept, or if their spatial visualization is under a certain point, I really question whether we're going to hire them. Okay. And the reason is not because they may not fit the culture. In fact, most of our turnover we've had are people who fit the culture, but don't fit the work. Okay. And the work matters because part of our fulfillment comes from the results we get. Right. So, and the things we do in the, we talk about culture being the identity, community, and opportunity. Well, if they're not engaging in the opportunity of the work they're doing, there's a problem. And so we need to make sure that it also hits home with those kind of assessments. So I love them. They are a yearly subscription. You'd have to go. High Match is who bought them out. So those assessments done under that, but I use them. We've gone through hundreds of them. So it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Which I guess I'm the next one too. So
yes, you are.
To the next resource, which is Office Vibe. Okay. So now that was a lot of on the attraction side. If you think about the 6 components of building a good team and culture and a scalable team, the other one, Office Vibe, hits a lot of this stuff. So we're always wondering, how do you know whether your culture and your retention and your development is going well outside of someone at the top going and asking someone within the organization, hey, how's it going? And they're terrified to give you a true answer.
Or they don't know the answer.
Or they don't know, right? They only know from their own perspective. Yeah. Office Vibe does a really good job on a couple areas. One area is getting a good feel for where your culture truly is at, and not just in almost in an anonymous way. Okay. So their magic is they like to stay anonymous because you're hopefully going to get more honest feedback. And so what they'll do is they'll send out, and you set up the timing, but once a week, once every other week, or once a month. And they'll send send out either 5, 10, or 20 questions based on that category, respectively, actually. And so what they'll do is ask questions, and these questions are not the same about the same topics week to week. They're about different things every week, but they're very like, hey, where would you put the scale of this? How well is this going? And there are ways for them to give follow-up answers and follow-up responses, but it stays anonymous. However, the power is when it gives you metrics back to let you know, hey, here's how you're doing with women under the age of 30. Here's how you're doing with men over the age of 40. Like, it's going to give you feedback and that analysis to let you know, is there a certain generation we're doing really well with, but one we're also maybe alienating that we need to be careful? Or, hey, we're only speaking at our, like what we were talking about a minute ago with Dustin's ability to speak the language of those who need to hear it. We're speaking really good language in this area, but we're not speaking good language in this area. This is an area we need to up our game.
Yeah. Shout out.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, shout out to Caleb Campbell, who a few episodes ago gave us the lead in on this. Blake, do you know the costs off the top of your head roughly for Office Vibe? So Office Vibe, just as you're looking this up, you should know that they have been, they're owned by a company called WorkLeap. And so Office Vibe is actually a product of WorkLeap. But do you remember, I know because you guys use it, right?
It's not very, it's a organizational amount here. So it goes from like tiers. So it's really hard to give that because we also, like, if you do one, like, so there's the Office Vibe, then there's another section for onboarding that I want to hit. And it helps you in your onboarding process, create that process, make sure that things are staying clear all the way through. There's one-on-one coaching sections. There's stuff, they have an LMS, which is a learning management system, to where you can host videos and a lot of your development programs and stuff of that nature, which we haven't dug into that part yet. So I want to be clear. I don't know how good that LMS is.
Well, we're about to with another resource.
Exactly. But what I would say is they do give different breakdowns when you add those other pieces on, and there's substantial breakdowns. Like, I think we're going to end up taking on all three aspects to where we're going to be able to cut out a couple other resources that are costing us money. So you may have some cost breakdown analysis there. So
yes, all that to say, it depends on company size and
totally
and all the uses that you're going to use. But really, for what you're getting, what we found so far is that it's a really good investment.
Yeah, excellent investment. The next one, which takes us, I kind of said we haven't dug into the LMS with Office Vibe. It's because we've been using Teachable for a long time. And there are so many different LMS platforms out there, but we've loved Teachable. It's got good AI background to help you fill out some stuff pretty quickly, which is great. But we've used it for all of our development programs. So if you think about the development aspect of scaling, how are you developing your team at all these levels? And how are you giving them information that they need to know? And a lot of this kind of development is very process-based development, okay? A lot of the tangibles still have to happen on a day-to-day, or you have to dig even deeper into your development programs, which we have on both sides, but I would say Teachable is a great one. I don't know if we'll be using it long-term, but for what it has been great as we've scaled from 0 to 55 people in the field. Like, it's helped us scale great in that aspect. So highly suggest that one.
Yeah. So getting into our next section, a lot of these next ones are going to be free for the most part, unless you try to get some pro features. And this next one, you might be like, well, why am I on a design software? Why are we promoting that? It's because we've learned over the years, and you know this too, if you really think about it, is that visuals speak. Right? Visuals speak what you're trying to convey to a lot of people who are visual learners. And so a go-to for us that we use in multiple organizations is Canva, because at the end of the day, we're not designers. Blake and I are not designers. My wife is a designer, so I have her look over my shoulder and approve things before I send it out. But for the most part, like, we can throw together some quick visuals to represent what it is that we're talking about, what important pieces of the puzzle we're trying to convey to our teams. And Canva has a pretty strong free option that you can use there. And even if you do use the pro option, I think it's only like $13, $15 a month. And the pro option just gives you more flexibility in what you can and can't create, and different customization sizes and things like that. But I mean, we use it all the time. This next one I'm super pumped about, because I've been giddy since I only learned about this about a year ago. And so just shame me now if you want. But Loom videos, LOOM, I think are one of the most easy to use, cost effective ways for you to document your processes. Someone goes, well, I don't have a video system to be able to set things up and pro person to kind of walk through all these things. Listen, a lot of what we do day in and day out is done on our computer. And because it's 2024, our computers, unless you're still using something from the Stone Age, has a webcam on it. And so you go to loom.com, and if you do a video that's less than 5 minutes, it's completely free. And they'll house it for you. And you can link to that. You can download it, all sorts of different things. And so Loom Video is a great way for you to be able to show your processes on things. It's great for onboarding. It's great for training. It's great for development. All the things that we talk about. It's one of the things I constantly refer to. I'm like, if you're not using Loom, you're missing out. And I will say this caveat before I throw it back to you, Blake, that a lot of people are like, yeah, well, I need more than 5 minutes. And I've said this before. If you need more than 5 minutes to explain a task, your task is too complicated. You need to refine it. So use that as a timer. Use that as an accountability metrics. Go, wow, it's taken me 8 minutes to explain this. All right, let's refine this. How can I refine this a little bit more? And let the wallet speak for you. Let the wallet be the boundary and be like, I don't want to pay for this, but I do want to use it. And obviously there are paid versions where you can go longer than that if you want to do different things in that nature. But yeah, Loom is great.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what I was going to say, is that 5 minutes is, if you are trying to explain an entire process in 5 minutes, don't break it down. That's what's so nice about it, is you can do pieces to it. And so it's creating, we talked about the 4 parts of the process. You got the process, the course, the checklist, and the visual. This helps so good with the process and the course, because like even, my company, Ridgeline Electrical, we use this help of building out processes with Dustin, and we will just send Loom videos and he creates all the other stuff. And it's like, this is perfect. This is the kind of continuity we want to have organizationally with the culture base and with our organization, because they're going to run side by side, and the ability to use Loom to that ability has helped us tremendously.
Yeah. And one thing that we're going to get into in our next episode that we've already hinted at a bit already in this episode is communication. And sometimes you're just like, I don't really know where to look. Are we getting emails? Are we getting notifications? Are we getting texts? What are we on? If you can pick one solid communication platform and know that this is where everybody looks, and the standard is communicated of this is where we go to check for messages. This is our turnaround time to reply for messages, expectations, all those sorts of things. Many companies, including myself, use Slack. Blake and his team use Google Chat. It doesn't really matter what you use. 99% of them are free, and there's really no need to really pay for any of them. I like Slack because of the integration purposes. Google Chat may have a lot of integrations too, but I love, just because I'm an Asana user, there's integration there with Asana. There's integration with Loom. There's integration with Zoom, with Google Drive, Dropbox. It's just unlimited what you can integrate with, and it's completely free, but you can set up channels just like you can on Google Chat. Where you can have different departments, different teams, all that stuff. Just having the platform will encourage you to use it more, and that'll obviously any type of communication that you can add to it is just going to kind of up your game a little bit. Now, what we're not saying is use Slack and Google Chat and email and text messages. That's going to overwhelm and confuse. Pick one, stick with it, and go for it.
Yeah, we used to use Basecamp as well because it was a cheaper platform and we got in real low level. And so it stays that way for life. But we ended up leaving even a low level cost for Google Chat because we were communicating through email, we were communicating through chat, we were communicating through projects. We were hitting all these. And the thing that we liked and it made sense to us is, since we use the Google Chat or the Google email functionality, you can search across everything right within your search in Google email. So even all your chats. So that was having a place for all your communication to flow. And this is another place I would say, understand your generational breakdown before you dive into something. Okay. Yeah. Because sometimes it's worth going a direction that may be uncomfortable for you if it's comfortable for the rest of your team. Okay. So it's not always about you. Sometimes you're going to have to learn again. And it may suck, but I'm telling you, communication's more important than your comfort. Okay. The next one I would hit is a book. Okay. So this one is more about having a good operating system. For the book is Traction, which, hold on.
Oh, I got it right here. I got it.
There. Yeah. Oh, two sides. Great. Traction. And it is a fantastic book for an operating system. What do I mean by operating system? I mean, how do we understand the flow of our organization? How do we understand process? How do we understand data? How do we understand all of this stuff? And how do we keep it consolidated simply? There's a great book, I think it's by Jocko, called The Extreme Ownership. Fantastic book, not what I'm talking about, but his whole thing is about making simplicity happen. And that's what the Marine Corps, the whole thing was about, simplicity. And so operating systems take a business, this massive, crazy, chaotic thing, and consolidate it into systems. Okay. And so Traction does a great job of doing this. It is also known as EOS, or the Entrepreneur Operating System. Okay. EOS. And Ridgeline, my company, is EOS. We operate off of an EOS, maybe not pure. And I think that's important to say, is that you don't have to be perfectly pure in whatever operating system you get, because just like any software you walk into doesn't mean it's like the exact software you're used to doing. And you don't use everything to its purpose and intent. A lot of times you rework things. Same thing here. I would just say, find a good operating system. Another good one that, one of our friends who actually, I think is the one who told us about Loom, who's a partner here, is the Scaling Up by Vern Harnish is another good book to look into. And it has a one-page operating system mentality as well. So that one is really good for vision, good for culture, good for process, good for data. If you feel lacking in those areas, pick up one of those books. Which takes me to the next book. I am sorry. I am not. Guys,
he's crushing these segues.
Yeah,
I know it from now on, I'll just be like, and what else, Blake?
Yeah, no, so here's the thing, guys. I'm a reading rainbow kid, okay?
Yeah.
I need LeVar Burton giving me a da-da-da for the next one, okay?
Oh, like a little jingle?
Oh, okay, I'll give you a jingle. We need a transition jingle or a wrap-it-up jingle.
I'll wrap it up. Yeah, I'll just start playing the music. I like it.
All right. So the next one's all about attraction and hiring. And this is for I personally think, a more middle level and up hiring. And it's called Foolproof Hiring. Great book. And it hits this idea of top grading. And it's about making sure that you're hiring A players, because the cost of B and C players to get things done is just so crazy. When you have one A player, you can actually get more done than like two C players. And so the cost there of having a really good A player and making sure that you have a good A player, and that's what this whole book is about, is diving into how do you dive into a resume? How do you dive into reaching out to resources and references? And how do you make sure that you're getting the most polished version of this person on a piece of paper? And it's supposed to tell everything you need to know about them? I don't think so. It should be costly. It should take time. Going through the Foolproof Hiring book is really great, and it's expensive. So that's where I say maybe more middle level and up, and having other strategies for more entry level positions. Dun-dun-dun.
And we're back with more. I'm just kidding. So final three here. Some one more book that I want to give to you, and then a couple of like physical tools that we found to be super helpful when we're planning and executing. So the last book that we want to share with you today, there's a guy, Daniel Coyle. He wrote a book called The Culture Code. But even further than that I like, probably better than just because I'm like practical, like just okay, what am I supposed to do here? Yeah. He came out with the Culture Playbook, which is 60 highly effective actions to help your group succeed. So if you're just like, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to start, it's really, really great. Highly recommend that. There's a tool that I use over with my coaching clients on my website. I'll put a link to it as well, but it's called the 12-month outlook. The 12-month outlook is just an opportunity for you to think through big picture and plan for the things before the things are happening. You know, every company, every organization, every entrepreneur has kind of annual things that need to happen or weekly things or quarterly things that need to happen. And you can have all the best intentions in the world, but unless you plan the work and work the plan, most of those intentions are never going to come to fruition. So that's what we use that for. And then lastly, get yours ready to show, Blake. Get yours ready. Lastly, we're nerds. Oh, sorry. We have two things. The full focus planner. All right. I have the yellow edition. Blake has the boring gray edition, which I'm going to switch to soon.
It's oatmeal.
Oatmeal. Thank you. Michael Hyatt, not of the Hyatt Hotels. He owns a company called Full Focus. You can find them at fullfocus.co. They have their own planner journal situation called the Full Focus Planner. We use it religiously. We also use, you have your other one to show?
Oh,
Duh. Blake turned me on to this one. You can talk about it a little bit more if you want to, Blake, but talk about the Remarkable. Okay. Remarkable 2, that is.
The Remarkable 2. So this is a great place for, okay, are you this guy or gal? The person who says, I love getting journals or love getting notebooks, and you spend so much time on Amazon finding the prettiest, sexiest one, and you get it and you're like, man, all my habits and writing styles are going to change. I'm going to write in this every day. And then you write that first one. You're like, new page, new me. And then you start writing in, and then you put it down and you forget it for a year and a half. And then you find it and you're like, oh man, well, I got to find a new one now. New page, new me. And so you have like 30 notebooks that you find occasionally throughout your house. And you're like, yeah, they've got great bits of information for a little bit of a season. And that's it. Mm-hmm. The Remarkable is great because it's cloud hosted. You have the ability to set it up. If you're really structured and you like the idea of like folders and, hey, this is my spiritual me. This is about my family me. This is the work me. And I'm not, obviously you're the same person, but you like to categorize things that way and have tags and things and searchability. Oh, and you know what? I know I wrote something one time about this, and it has such a good processing system that it can read handwritten and find those things even as you search it for it in a, like, I don't even know what that is, like a type kind of way, like search all notes about vision, and anything that has the word vision, it's going to pick it up and you can go research that stuff. It is so good for that. I love one thing things. Okay. I know a lot of people love many things, and you're going to be like, well, that's just like a journal ability to write.
I can use my iPad for that, right?
I can use my iPad for that. That's true. But you can use your iPad for Facebook, and you can use your iPad for anything. And that's great for some things, but I am a person who needs a one thing. I have a Fitbit because when I look at my hand, I want to think, be healthy. When I had my Apple Watch, I looked at my hand and said, why aren't you busy? And that's all I thought. And for the planner, I like planners because I like to think I need to get stuff done when I see this. When I look at this, I think I need to be creative. I need to dive into strategy and things like that.
Vision.
I like those. Yeah, vision. I like those things that put me in the right place. So that's why I love all these. I know things are coming out that make it all packaged. I don't want that. Okay. That's the kind of person I am. So
I'll
just soapbox.
Yeah. And I'll back up that soapbox because there's some things, I still have an Apple Watch, but there are some things like this that I think are extremely important because the use that you're using it for is a single-minded use and distraction free. I can't check my email on a Remarkable. I can't get messaged on my Remarkable. I can't scroll social media on my Remarkable. I can't surf the web on my Remarkable. I can only write things down. I can only contribute. I can only learn. I can only take notes. And I like that. And I'll tell you one quick little hack that I've used for it is the Remarkable 2 has a screen share option. And so if you want to go all John Madden on somebody in a meeting, whether if it's on Zoom, you can share your screen and you can draw things out and they can see it in real time. Now, if you're like me and you have horrible handwriting, it can get embarrassing. But that's just motivation to learn how to write better, right? Anyway.
Hey, there was one thing I just found out recently that it's great for is being on a plane. You know, there's a lot of pins that don't work at a certain altitude, and they
Really? I
dry
didn't know
out.
that.
Yep. So I've had.
Oh, you mean like ink pens?
Ink pens. Yep.
Oh, I thought you. Yeah. Okay. I
So-
thought you meant like styluses, but yeah.
Oh, no. But it is fantastic to just dive into strategy where you're already not disconnected. You're up in the air. I was like, this is the best. And I was on it for hours.
You just take some loops. Like, I'm not ready to land yet.
Yeah. It's just well, keep it going, buddy.
Circle around.
I'll put it in the meter.
I'll take the next one. So this has been a great episode. Lots of great resources, some free, some that have a little bit of investment into it. We're going to link all of these at theculturebase.com/resources. I want to remind you that some of the things that you can find there is our brand new ebook launching today with this podcast, The Scalability Playbook, Proven Methods for Building High Performance Teams. You can get that for free there. You can get our PDF guide of the best interview questions ever. You can get a digital download for free of the Uncultured book from Blake Bear. So many different things. And we're going to link all of these things on that page for you as well. Next time, Blake, we talked to kind of hit a little bit. I love the preview that we gave a lot throughout our resources. We kind of previewed a little bit of our next episode for communication. So our next episode, we're going to call Communication is Almost Everything? ? We're going to get into it. Can't wait to talk to you then next time on the Culture Base Podcast. Have a great week.